The ship Solace drifted through the black ocean of deep space, its silver hull shining softly against the endless dark. For Captain Alara Voss, this silence was both beautiful and haunting. Humanity had reached far, building colonies among the stars, but the space beyond the Perseus fringe was still mostly empty. Out here, every sound, every light, felt like a message from the unknown. Alara stood at the command deck, looking out the main viewport. The stars seemed still, but the sensors whispered movement. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Ryan Cole, checked his screens and frowned. "Captain, there's a faint signal coming from grid 7-3 Delta," he said. "It's weak but repeating. Distress code pattern, not human." Alara turned sharply. "Alien out here?" "Yes, ma'am. The frequency's unstable, but definitely artificial." She felt her pulse rise. No human ship had ever reported a distress signal this far from known space. Her first instinct was caution, but then the quiet voice of curiosity spoke louder. Exploration was why Solace existed. She looked at the glowing stars on the screen and made her choice. "Set course," she ordered. "We investigate." The crew exchanged uncertain glances, but none questioned her. They trusted her courage even when it scared them. 3 hours later, Solace dropped out of hyperspace near a dying sun. The star burned weakly, wrapped in a storm of dust and lightning. The signal came from a nearby planet, small and cracked like an ancient stone. Gravity storms flickered across its surface, bending light and shadow. Ryan's voice broke the silence. "It's bad down there, Captain. High radiation, magnetic chaos, but there's definitely a crash site." Alara stared at the data feed. The image showed metal wreckage spread across a dark plain. It was no human design. Curved surfaces like glass, glowing softly even in ruin. "Prepare the shuttle," Alara said. "I'm going down." Dr. Adrian Hale, the ship's xenobiologist, looked up from his console. "You're going yourself?" "I need eyes on the ground," she replied calmly. "You're with me, Doctor." Adrian nodded once. His curiosity matched hers, though he showed it in quieter ways. The shuttle Sparrow descended through violent clouds. Storms of ash and electricity painted the sky orange. When they landed, the air shimmered like heat over metal. The wreck lay before them, a torn shell of what once might have been a living ship. Strange symbols ran across the hull, pulsing faintly. Adrian walked beside Alara, scanning the area. "It's organic technology," he murmured. "The structure reacts to energy, like it's breathing." They moved carefully among the ruins until a low sound reached their ears. Not mechanical, not natural. It was a soft hum, rising and falling like a voice trapped inside crystal. "Alara, over here," Adrian called. Half buried under the wreckage was a figure made of translucent material, glowing faintly blue. It was humanoid in shape but delicate, like living glass. Its chest pulsed with dim light. When Alara knelt beside it, the being's eyes opened. Twin orbs of color that seemed to shift between every hue. A whisper echoed inside their minds, clear and melodic. "Help, the darkness is coming!" Alara exchanged a stunned look with Adrian. The being wasn't speaking, it was projecting. "It's alive," she said. "Get it to the shuttle now." Adrian hesitated. "Captain, we don't know what it is. We could be exposing ourselves to—" "Then wear your suit seals tight," she cut in. "We're not leaving it here." Together, they lifted the fragile being onto a stretcher, its form surprisingly light. The moment they did, the ground trembled. A shockwave of static rippled through the air, and a faint vibration filled the sky. Alara's communicator buzzed. "Captain, this is Ryan," came the voice from Solace. "We've detected movement. Ship's inbound. Unknown configuration." Alara looked up. In the clouds above, black lights flickered. Not like stars, but like holes in reality. Her instinct screamed, "Take off now," she shouted. "We're bringing company." The shuttle blasted upward, buffeted by violent winds. As they broke through the clouds, the black shapes came into view. Dark angular ships moving without engines or trails. They absorbed the starlight instead of reflecting it. Adrian's voice trembled. "What are those?" Before Alara could answer, the alien being spoke again. This time more clearly, its voice filling their minds like music through glass. The null chorus. "They come for memory. They erase all they find." Alara's heart pounded. "Ryan, power the shields and prep for emergency jump." When they reached orbit, Solace opened its hangar bay just long enough for the shuttle to dock. The instant the clamps locked, Alara ran to the bridge. Outside, the black ship spread like ink. No lights, no signals, only silence. Then a pulse, a wave of darkness that made every system on Solace flicker. "EMP field," Ryan shouted. "They're trying to disable us." Ilara gritted her teeth. "Divert power from the research lab to the engines." "We're not dying out here." The ship roared as it forced its engines online. One of the alien ships fired a beam of pure shadow, striking their shields. Energy alarms screamed, but the barrier held, barely. Adrian rushed to the bridge carrying the alien on a stretcher. Its glow had dimmed, but it looked at Ilara with eyes full of light and sorrow. "You should have left me. Now they will find you." Ilara stood firm. "We don't abandon anyone in distress. Not even across the stars." The alien's body shimmered, and for a moment its voice filled the entire bridge. "Then you carry our last spark, human. Protect it well." Solace turned sharply, engines blazing. The chorus ships followed, but Ilara knew the way. She aimed for the edge of the star's gravity well. Space twisted, light bending around them as the dying sun pulled everything inward. Rian warned, "If we go too close, we'll never break free." Ilara replied coldly, "If we stay here, we're already gone." The ship dove toward the swirling fire below. The hull glowed red. Shields crackled. The chorus ships hesitated, their dark forms struggling near the gravity waves. Ilara used that moment. "Now, Rian, jump!" The stars blurred. The Solace vanished into hyperspace just as the dying star collapsed behind them, swallowing the chorus fleet in its lightless fire. When they emerged hours later, the ship drifted quietly in a region of calm space. Half the systems were damaged and many of the crew were exhausted. But they were alive. Ilara sat beside the alien being in the medical bay. Adrian worked nearby, monitoring its fading glow. The creature spoke softly. "You are different. Most run from the dark. You run through it." Ilara smiled faintly. "We're human. We don't stop when it gets dark." "Then perhaps you will survive," the being whispered. "My name is Karesh. I am the last of the Luminari. The chorus hunts me because I carry the memory of my people." Ilara leaned closer. "What is the null chorus, Karesh?" "They were our creation," Karesh answered weakly. "We built them to keep our memories safe. But they decided that silence was purer than remembrance. Now they erase all that ever was." The words sank like cold iron. Humanity had always feared the unknown, but this an enemy that erased not just life, but memory was something worse. Ilara looked toward the viewport, where distant stars shimmered like fragile candles. She clenched her fist. "Then they'll learn one thing they can't erase," she said quietly. "What it means to be human." Karesh's light flickered almost like a smile. "Then there is still hope." Outside, the endless dark stretched on, silent, vast, waiting. But somewhere in that darkness, a soft fire had begun to burn, not of destruction but of courage, connection, and something deeper between those who refused to surrender to the void. The Solace moved forward into the unknown, its trail a thin line of light in the endless black, a promise that humanity's spark would never fade. The Solace drifted quietly through a quieter part of space. The stars seemed endless, yet every hum of the engines reminded Ilara and her crew that danger was never far behind. Karesh, the Luminari being, lay on a medical cradle in the middle of the ship, its crystalline form dim and fragile. Adrian monitored the alien's energy levels, scanning its core with careful precision. "If we can't stabilize Karesh soon, it won't survive the next jump," he said, worry etched across his face. Ilara leaned against the console, staring at the map of distant stars. Their course traced a path toward uncharted regions, places where no human had yet ventured. But the null chorus was relentless. They had felt it during the last encounter. The black ships were not just hunters. They were predators of memory. Wherever the chorus went, civilizations vanished. Entire histories erased. Karesh stirred, its voice soft like light through a prism. "They will follow." And soon, Ilara met its gaze. "We're ready. We'll survive. Humanity doesn't give up easily." Karesh's glow pulsed slowly. "Your kind is stronger than you know. I see it already. Even in fear, you do not falter." Adrian glanced at Ilara, a quiet tension between them. Months of space travel had worn them both, but there was an unspoken connection growing, a warmth in the cold void. Every shared glance, every small moment of care had become a soft fire neither of them fully admitted. The ship's sensors beeped suddenly. "Captain, Multiple signatures approaching, Ryan reported. They're fast. Too fast. Ilara straightened. Set emergency course. We'll have to run. Prepare the jump drives. Adrian knelt beside Koresh, his hands glowing as he adjusted the alien's energy stabilizers. We can't risk leaving Koresh behind, he said. We won't, Ilara said firmly. We're all in this together. The black shapes of the null chorus ships appeared on the sensors. They were like shadows moving against shadows, impossible to track fully. Their presence felt alive, as if the ships themselves were aware, calculating and patient. Ilara took a deep breath. Engage evasive maneuvers, and keep the course stable. If they touch Koresh, it's over. The first attack came without warning. A pulse of darkness struck the shields. Alarms screamed. Sparks flew from consoles and the hull groaned under pressure. The crew gritted their teeth and worked feverishly, diverting power to engines, weapons, and shields. Adrian focused on Koresh, whispering softly, "Hold on. You're not alone." The alien's glow brightened slightly at his voice, a rhythm like a heartbeat. It had learned to respond to human energy, to emotion, and in those moments a strange bond formed, one that transcended words. Humans had never encountered a being like this before, yet something in their spirit called to one another. Ilara maneuvered the ship through a field of asteroid debris. Each movement was calculated, precise, and dangerous. One wrong turn and Solace would be torn apart. "Captain, they're adapting," Ryan shouted. "Every path we take, they follow." Ilara's eyes narrowed. "Then we give them something they can't calculate. Prepare for a risky jump near the binary star system at Sector 9B. Adrian looked uneasy. "The gravitational field's there. We could be crushed. Better crushed than dead," Ilara replied. As the ship approached the stars, Koresh's voice filled the bridge again. "There is a place. The Origin Forge. If you survive, go there. There you can end the chase. Or survive it," Ilara frowned. "Why tell us this? You don't know if we'll make it." Koresh's light shimmered like a faint smile. "Because you must know. Because I see the fire in you. Humans do not surrender, even to darkness." The Solace hit the gravity well, and the ship's hull strained under the pressure. The stars twisted into long streaks, and light bent around them as if space itself were alive. The null chorus ships followed, but they slowed, unable to handle the unpredictable forces. Ilara's hands moved over the controls with practiced skill. "Now jump." With a flash of light, the Solace vanished into hyperspace again. For a few moments, silence returned. The crew breathed heavily, exhausted but alive. In the calm that followed, Adrian and Ilara finally found a moment to speak privately. They stood near the observation deck where the stars stretched endlessly. "You were incredible out there," Adrian said softly. "Most people would have frozen." Ilara shook her head. "I was terrified, but I couldn't let Koresh die. Not while we could help." He looked at her, his expression gentle. "You're human, Ilara. That's what makes you different. That's what makes us strong. Even in the darkest moments, we choose to care." She smiled faintly, a warmth spreading through her chest. "And sometimes that fire, it grows in the quietest ways." Adrian's gaze lingered. Neither spoke more, but in the stillness they understood each other. A connection born of courage, risk, and shared survival. Days passed in tense silence. Koresh's condition slowly improved under Adrian's care, and the ship's systems stabilized after their near-death encounter. Yet the null chorus was never far behind. Every jump brought another warning. Every signal they intercepted reminded them that the galaxy held enemies that didn't play by human rules. One night, Koresh spoke from its cradle, its light pulsating softly. "You must know, I cannot survive long enough to fight them alone. My energy will fade and the chorus will not wait. But there is a way. You can use my knowledge. You can—" Ilara knelt beside the being. "Tell me, what must we do?" Koresh's voice trembled like wind through crystal. "The forge is the source. The chorus began there, and it can be undone there, but it is dangerous. You will face the impossible. Only the fire of your kind, the fire of humanity, can survive it." Adrian listened, awed. "Then we must reach it," he said. "Whatever it takes." Koresh's glow softened. "I will give you the memory of my people. The last songs, the last light. Carry it. Let it burn." The crew prepared for the journey to the Origin Forge. Maps were plotted, hyperdrives readied, and shields reinforced. Ilara's resolve hardened with each passing moment. Humanity had survived countless threats before. Alien predators, collapsing stars, rogue AI. Nothing could break the fire within their species. Rian checked the weapons. "We're ready, Captain. But if they follow us again, it won't be easy." Alara placed a hand on his shoulder. "They've never faced what we have. Not humans. Not us." Adrian and Alara returned to Koresh, who now shimmered faintly in response to their presence. "Thank you," it whispered. "Even if I do not live, your kind will carry the light forward." Alara reached out, brushing her hand across the alien's crystalline surface. "Then we'll make sure your people are remembered. That your fire survives." Koresh's light brightened for a moment and then dimmed, a soft pulse echoing through the room like a heartbeat. When the Solace finally jumped into hyperspace, heading toward the uncharted depths where the forge awaited, the crew felt a mix of fear and determination. Each knew the danger that lay ahead. The Null Chorus would not give up. They would hunt, erase, and destroy. But humanity was different. Humans remembered. Humans cared. Humans burned brightly even when the darkness tried to swallow them whole. Alara watched the stars blur past the viewport and whispered, more to herself than anyone else, "We will survive. And we will light the darkness no matter what comes." Adrian stood beside her, silent but steady. No words were needed. Together they were not just survivors. They were a spark, small but unbreakable. And in the quiet hum of the ship, Koresh's light flickered once more, a soft glow reminding them that even the smallest fire could resist the void.